Here is a quick look into what the steps are that we take when we start your life coaching journey. We are all born knowing what is right and wrong for us, and therefore how to make decisions that are right for our life. But then immediately people start telling you who you are, what you shouldn't do, and what they think is right and wrong for you, and you stop making decisions from your authentic self and rather make conditioned decisions that might not be quite right for you. So the first thing we need to do is go back to who you really are under all of that conditioning. Your energy frequency, which is completely unique to you, is also going to help us understand what the red flags are. So when are you making decisions that are not right for you, and when are you flowing and actually making decisions that are right for you? We also look at what is the reason for those not self or those incorrect decisions. What is causing them, which will make it much easier for you to identify when you are struggling with a question, when you might be going in the wrong direction. So it becomes very easy for you to just ask yourself, am I doing this thing that I tend to do when I make the wrong decisions for me? Knowing this information also helps me to give you your decision-making tools. So in order for you to express your uniqueness in the world with compassion, appreciation, and respect for others' uniqueness, you need to have self-love. And self-love comes from knowing yourself. So we talk about your strategy and authority. Your strategy is your decision-making tool, and your authority is moving from this external authority, which is the conditioning, what you've been told, what you've experienced, using the mind to make decisions, overthinking, pressures from external authorities, moving to an internal authority and the one that is right for you. So I will then help you get back in touch with that internal authority and understand how to use it to make decisions that will move you in the right direction. Next, we look at you as the student in the classroom. In other words, we are all learning as students in the classroom of the world. You have fixed patterns and consistent strengths that you interact with within the world, and you can rely on independently of others. This is also important to identify how you condition others' beliefs, especially people close to you and your children. It also identifies your purpose and life work in this life. But then on the other side, we also have your shadows and distractions. So do you have the strength in this particular area, or are you dealing with shadows and distractions in this area? So they are the aspects that may cause you to waste energy and time. They are very interesting to you though. You will find them incredibly fascinating, and the reason for that is that they really are the lessons you need to learn, the wisdom that you need to learn in this life and share with other people. And therefore you will also then identify why you are attracted to certain people, because they will be the people who have the strengths, the fixed and consistent strengths, where you have the shadows and the distractions. As science has proven to us, everything in the world is made up of tiny little neutrinos, which are in every little atom, and every single thing that we see, whether it's liquid or solid, ourselves, the home we live in, everything is made up of these tiny little pieces. In other words, everything is energy. So the next thing we're going to look is how your energy flows. And we do this by looking at this sort of map or guideline or body graph that you see in front of you now. And those lines that you see, where it is white, is areas where there is no energy flow, if you'd like, and where they are colored in, that's where there is energy flowing. So if you think of it as a circuit board, and every single human being has the same layout of a circuit board, but our energy flows differently and uniquely to each of us. Now, it could be that somebody could have the orange area where everything is connected to each other, and we can call that their single circuit board, or what we call single definition. Or in this specific one, which is mine, you can see there are two circuit boards that are connected but not connected to each other. We call this split definition. You could get up to 4 splits in somebody's design. Where these splits connect to each other, when we interact with other people that may have the line not white but colored in, so their energy is sort of flowing in that area, when you meet up with them, it's almost like your circuit reconnects and you are able to do things with them that you may not have been able to do on your own. Let's have another look at this circuit board, if you like, or body graph. Let's look at how you are wired. So if you look at the lines, the wires, we call them channels, that are colored in red or black or both, those, when they are connected to each other, can you see that the shapes are then also colored in? Those shapes are what we call centers. We have 9 of them. The ones that are colored in and the lines that are colored in are where your strengths and fixed patterns lie, and where the lines or wires are white and the patterns are white, that is where you have your shadows and distractions, but also where your wisdom lies. There's no right or wrong, or you are not broken or not have something that isn't colored in. It's just that we are all different and unique. There are 9 centers or shapes, and there are 36 channels, so 36 possible fixed patterns and strengths that you could have. Where they end, you see what we call a gate. There are 64 gates, so in other words, a gate at each end of each channel. Now, sometimes a gate could be activated. So if you look at the right hand side, there's an incomplete channel. The gate is activated on the one side of the channel, but not on the other side. So the channel is not complete. Where the channel on the right hand side, gates are activated on both sides and the channels are connected. This is very important because we tend to be magnetically attracted to people who do have the other gate activated or the other side of that particular channel in their design. And that's how we come together and we are able to achieve more and have more strengths as a combined team, as social animals, than we are on our own. Each of these centers, channels, gates, and each gate also has one of 6 lines, tells us more and more about you and what your authentic self is, and brings about this picture of what you are here to learn and what you are here to offer. Now that we understand why we are magnetically attracted to some people, and by the way, you don't attract people that are wrong for you. If there are problems in your relationships, then it is possibly because you feel attracted to these people, but once you're in the relationship with them and they don't treat you right, you are not loving yourself enough to walk away from the situation, because not every person that you are naturally attracted to and that can help you in your life is necessarily somebody who's going to treat you right. So you can also then see here, we talk about electromagnetic attraction in the love gates, which are the numbers that you see on the left hand side here. But we also look at attraction from the lines. So in each of these gates, like I said previously, there are up to 6 lines, which I'm not going to show here. But this connection could be harmonic, which is where you have the same line numbers, or it can be resonant, which is these particular combinations, or dissonance. Dissonance is that feeling of being very attracted to somebody in the beginning, but then later almost becoming frustrated and even feeling as if you possibly hate this person. You know how some relationships go that way. Now, you can still have a good relationship with those people if you actually understood why the dissonance was there, and that is something that we can explore in your relationships. We can also look at what we call compromising. Now, compromising happens when you're in a relationship with somebody where that person has perhaps got the completed channel and you have a portion of the channel. So when you come together, you feel a little bit more completed in that particular area of the relationship, or strength that you don't normally have on your own, but the other person doesn't need you to complete it because they already have the full channel. This is where we have situations in relationships where we feel like the other person doesn't quite understand us or take us seriously, or they don't need us, or they're ignoring us, they don't pay attention to us when we talk about this particular thing, or when we are involved in a discussion about this particular point, or whatever the case may be. And those are then further going to help us understand where there may be conflict in your current relationship, or why you experienced it in previous relationships. Next, we look at your role on the stage of life. This is possibly the most interesting part for me. Each of us has a unique contribution to make to this world, a purpose. Yes, every single life has a purpose. Our life's activity is expressed as our purpose and is captured in our incarnation cross. Each of us carries our own cross. So all crosses are essential in this world, and no single cross is more important than anybody else's cross. But your cross is something that is not necessarily something you are entitled to. So even though this might be in your design, this is something that you have to work for. So this is not something that is just going to happen because it's in your design. You know, it's not inevitable. So in order to fulfill your purpose, you actually have to be patient in your life. You have to be disciplined. You have to pay attention to the decisions that you are making according to your strategy and authority. That was the first thing that we talked about. And then combined with this, you need to be really dedicated to be aware, or to live an aware life. Your profile then is the beginning of establishing a style for your life, the costume of your purpose. The costume is something that you're going to grow into. So sometimes it might feel very comfortable. When I tell you about this, you'll say, oh yeah, no, this really does sound like me. And sometimes it just won't. It won't feel like it's right for you. The reason for that is, in human design, we're looking at personality and design, where most of your other types of assessments are personality based. Maybe they'll look at some of your blind spots, but they're mostly personality based. Human design also looks at genetics. It also looks at your design, some parts of you that you don't see in somebody's personality. It's not something that's on the surface. It might be things about yourself that you didn't even know, you didn't even realize about yourself. And this is when you're going to feel uncomfortable, like, oh, I don't know, I don't feel like this is right. This is not me. But once you start to make decisions from your strategy and authority and practice some of the tools that I'm going to teach you, you will slowly but surely start to feel your design become more of who you are rather than your personality, until what we're trying to achieve here is not that one takes over the other, but rather that they become in balance. You see, if we make all our decisions about our career, about where we should live, should we live coastal? Should we live inland? How we should eat? Should we eat regular meals or only once a day? All of these things are written in your design. If you make all of your decisions from the personality, that's when we sometimes feel like, even though we worked so hard to achieve a goal, it's just not satisfying. The reason for that is you'd completely focused on what you think your personality is saying about who you are and what you should be doing, and completely missing out on a very important part of yourself, which is your design. My name is Lindy. I hope that you are feeling excited about finding out more about what I can do for you as a life coach. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to meeting you.